Say, baby, say, baby. Say, baby, do you wanna lay down with me? Say, baby, do you wanna lay down by my side? Baby, do you wanna lay down with me? Say, say, baby, do you wanna lay down with me? Say, baby, do you wanna lay down by my side? Baby, do you wanna lay down with me? Say, baby, say, baby. Say, baby. Say, baby, do you wanna lay down with me? Say, baby, do you wanna lay down by my side? Baby, do you wanna lay down with me? Say, baby. Say, baby. Say, baby, do you wanna lay down with me? Say, baby, do you wanna lay down by my side? Baby, do you wanna lay down with me? Say, baby. Say, baby.
Hey, how's it going, party people? Today is January 29th. I don't even know why I say the dates anymore. It really doesn't even matter. It's not like we go like episodic. It's not like we do it's not like it's a episodic syndicated show or anything. So alright, whatever. So today is 29th. We're almost done with January. And living in Chicago, Januaries are pretty they're pretty brutal over here. Normally We've been lucky enough to have so much beautiful global warming here that what's it called? It actually has not been too bad in a while, and so I'm just putting in the hashtag right now. Okay. Now, we always go by this simple hashtag called Free Ben's Doink. This is going against Ben Shapiro because he's the most sexually repressed being of all beings. Hey, Chris, I was trying to ask what was the best topic to put this under on Twitch. I have a lot to talk about, just different range of variety of things. So I went under Just Chatting. I normally do it under TV and have I seen this lip filler? I still don't know what you mean by that. The Ben Shapiro lip filler. I've still got to look into that because I don't know what that means. That's why I simply basically the whole story went as Chris was asking about, have I noticed his lip filler, and I really didn't know what that meant. And so there we go. Apparently Ben Shapiro has fake lips. That's crazy. Is that a thing? Do people do that? Do people seriously do that? Do they buy fake lips? I mean, I remember getting them for Halloween, and we used to they were just like wax, and I always thought you were supposed to eat them. So I would always eat them and just be like, why do we eat this shit? It's just candle wax. And, well, yeah, that's because that's what it was. So Chris, you're saying that he got injected with some sort of temporary implant filler. That makes a little bit more sense, because I was under the impression that you meant like he's wearing some sort of fake lip on his thing. Which, in this time and era, I really don't see the point. We have temporary injections, So, cheers, by the way. This is, I think, the last day of Tropical Truffle. And, this has been Tropical Truffle, and then this, right. So, we should be trying, what is it? Sour apple today. Or tomorrow, actually. So that's going to be the new bud of the week. Again, this one is brought to you by Tropical Truffle, which is a strange name, but it was a hell of a sativa. And again, I love my sativas. People tend to think that sativas are a weaker strain, and now when it comes to the THC levels, I suppose you can say that, but it's simply not a matter of quantity, and it's really just a matter of how you want your high. It depends on what kind of high you're looking for. I like the creative type. The creative type of marijuana, which is normally sativas, because they don't put me to sleep and they help me write. And I would not be able to do this show on an indica. I would be falling asleep half the time, or I'd be forgetting my place. And it's really hard to remember your place when you just smoked, when you just take a bong rip of some indica that now, raises the blood. What I tend to feel is a raise in blood pressure and a slight raise in paranoia and tension, where a sativa gives more of a relaxed, euphoric, and energetic kind of buzz for it. And so I had heard someone say that they smoked a sativa and they got the best sleep of their life, and I'm like, that's not the sativa, that was just you. Because an indigo will do that to you. So anyway, let's just go ahead and Chris, are you sure they do? Is it a temporary injection? Is that what this is? Anyway, so the title of today is Mindy Sucks, as you can see right up mirror. The reason why I decided to call it Mindy Sucks is because it's not necessarily about Velma. Now, everyone is attacking the show Velma right now. Now, I'm no different. I've attacked it too. And I have a damn good reason, because I think we all have a damn good reason. When you're a fan of television and you've been relying on it your whole life. Now, I just recently did a thing about TV and movies, and how movies used to be the big thing and TV was the little brother. And I don't see it that way, because, again, TV shows bring you something that a movie won't. Now, when I'm talking about Mindy Kaling, I noticed that everyone's, we're all blowing up at Velma, but no one's blowing up at Mindy. And that's the problem. And I'll come back to this later, but you have to remember that Velma was a Scooby-Doo character. Okay, it was an IP. It was an already, premeditated. It was already a fucking installed property. Okay, so if you watch a year ago, Mindy Kaling had did an interview with Seth Meyers. Now, I love Seth Meyers, and I understand you got to kiss some butt every now and then. And I'm sure Mindy is a friend of his, because NBC is very tight like that. They all work with each other and they all have friends in the business. And we all know Mindy Kaling's first big job was in The Office, playing Kelly Kapoor. Now, remember how Kelly Kapoor was? She was ditzy, she was erratic, she was overly emotional. She was intelligent, but she was not smart. And so what it basically was kind of like her just being her. And it's like, all right, that's fine. In a show like that works, because you're dealing with personalities, And so when Mindy had gotten on the show and talked about Velma, she specifically talked about how much respect she was going to give to the character Velma. Now, initially, she said people were upset about the race change, and it's not that we got mad about the race change. And so she was basically already on the defensive. She was already on the defense before anyone even got to see the show yet. So that's not a good start. It's already showing that you don't have a really strong foundation to hold on to. So what pissed us off was not that you changed Velma, was that Velma had to change for you. You wanted a show like everything else you do to be about you. Look at any single property, TV show, streaming show, anything that has been specifically written by Mindy Kaling. Notice it's always a geeky Indian girl from Eastern Asia, and it gets to the point where it's like, okay, we get your point, we get it. And I'm sorry, hang on. Every Indian woman hates Mindy Kaling because she uses her brownness and advantage to help with the white man's fetish of white men. Okay, that could be one thing. I don't agree with that, but again, what the problem was is that you took some property that you swore you respected and you had always had a fondness for, and so you had taken this and turned it into a personal problem. And again, this is my problem with writers these days, and I said the same thing with She-Hulk, is that it's all projection. It's completely, you're using Velma, you're just using her name. I mean, that's all you're doing. You're using her name. You could have literally called this show Mindy, or Mindy the cartoon, or you could have just given her a fucking original name and just gone about the show. But like I said, everything she has done is basically just her life story. I mean, she did the show about the college girls, and then the other show about that Indian girl. Everything she does is very one-dimensional, and it's just Mindy. That's it. And so when she got on Seth Meyers to tell us about Velma, you weren't getting on stage and telling us the truth. You were not going to say, oh, we're taking the property of Scooby-Doo, but it's going to be about me. You know, she didn't tell us that. She said we're going to give this character the respect they deserve. That's not a character. It's just you. That's not a character. You can't base something off of shit that you do and consider that a character. That's not. It's just you in another fucking dimension. Okay, Chris. See, my thing with Velma is that in the original Scooby-Doo, there really wasn't that much information about who she was. No, they gave it a lot of ambiguity. Besides the brains, she had a blank character that Mindy could have thrown a million things. Absolutely! You could have thrown in so many little things. And like I said, the little things are what make up life. So the little things are what we look for in shows and in TV, or in movies. Now, those little things add up. And so you could have had it where Velma give her little quirks. Like, she can't go a day without coffee. She needs at least, 4 coffees a day or something like that. And so you could always use that as some sort of running gag, You could have given her so much depth and dimension, and yeah, you could have brought her to the screen like what you originally intended to do. But, and it's the theme about that is it seems like it's becoming more and more of a personal problem. It's not a black and white thing. It's not an anti-Indian agenda that we follow. It's just we are tired of these specific people lying to us. And so one of the big things that lie to us the most is the entertainment industry, because they like to tell us to be ready for one thing and then they give us another. In the early 2000s, their problem was they were giving everything away in the trailers. So the trailers became so long, you basically felt like you saw the movie. Chris, do you remember this? certain TV. Shit, I just lost my point. Anyway, see, I get excited and then I completely lose my point. But again, it's personal issues. You know, it's in the days when previews became way too long. I mean, that's right. They were 10-minute long movie previews. And so it gave you the entire thing, like beginning to end. I think Jurassic Park 3 was like literally, you got the whole plot. And in some cases, they made it so obvious that, like, it was like watching Black Adam, and like we didn't see that stupid twist coming from like 1,000 miles away. And so this new way of doing it is why we all keep calling it a bait and switch, because you promise one thing, you show us very little, and give us chance to, you know, wonder, which is great. That's what you should be doing. But you need to follow through. See, before you had the follow through and you wasted it on the pregame. Now you have the pregame perfectly, got everyone set up, and then you're going to let them down because you are so worried about what people want when people don't know what they want until they see it. And then they go, yeah, that's what I want. I just want an original story. So if you're going to change all of these characters from Scooby-Doo, again, it's a Scooby-Doo cartoon. Who cares? But if you're going to make a spin-off of a fucking show, it has to have some of the original property left. There's nothing from Velma that resembles Scooby-Doo's Velma. There's nothing. There's not one simple thing. And again, it's a personal thing because it's not Velma. I don't even know if Velma had a last name. See, that would have been awesome to give Velma a last name, to add on to her character like they did with Daria. When Mike Judge made Beavis and Butthead, he didn't think Daria was ever going to make it. Daria was simply a take on making fun of her name. That's all it was. Dinkley? Mm-hmm. Okay. But, so when you had Mike Judge, is that the name that they gave? Oh, Velma Dinkley. Sorry. All right. See? All right. Well, does she have a middle name? Could have gave her a middle name? I don't know. Make her middle name something weird or funny. I don't know. Who gives a shit? The point is that, you know, when you're giving someone a bait and switch, you can't get upset that they're upset. You could have just had an original thing that would have been like Rick and Morty was a take off of Doc and Marty. So we understood the reference that they were making. They didn't have to call it Doc and Marty because we're so goddamn stupid that we need to believe it's Back to the Future to go watch it. No. They simply took, you know, and in my opinion, that's the exact same thing. Rick and Morty, what they did is an honest representation because they already knew what they were ripping off and they gave that to you, but they did not go with that source material. Let's say they could have afforded it. I don't think they would have done it. Let's say that Steven Spielberg was totally cool with it, Robert Zemeckis totally cool with it, and give them the property. I don't think that those creators would have gone with the IP because they would lose out on so much, you know, when it's already an installed property. There's characters that they wouldn't use, and if you're not going to use them, then don't use the property. So it really just boggles my mind how these actors get upset that we're upset that you lied to us. And another perfect example of these bait and switch movies are all these streaming movies like Hawkeye, Loki. The Marvel Universe is great for bait and switch. If you went to see Hawkeye and you were hoping it was going to be about Hawkeye, it wasn't about Hawkeye. It was about the chick. When you went to watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it was just a bait and switch to give you a new Captain America, and Loki was a bait and switch to give you some female Loki named Cersei, and I was like, huh? Why is this happening? What was wrong with the characters that we had? It's different. It's not. Again, it's not a sexual issue. It's not a racial issue. The issue is with the writing in itself. And if it's insulting, it's insulting. If it's bad, it's bad. And it's not a black and white problem. It's a personal problem. That writer sucks. Mindy Kaling sucks. That way. Mindy Kaling is fucking horrible. Okay? You've had 3 chances now, and I'm sorry, 4, and all 4 have been the same thing. An Indian American fucking woman. We get it. And you know what? It's funny because a lot of the Indian Americans hate your show. I mean, honestly, I could never tolerate her voice. That always drove me nuts. Mindy Kaling's voice is like nails on a chalkboard for me. I don't know why. It's too high pitched. There's a frequency level that just bothers me. She can't help that. It's not her problem. It's not like she ever expected to fucking, it's not like she lived her life knowing that Useless Agent was around saying, your voice is annoying. Which maybe if I had done that and followed her through her life, maybe we would have dodged a bullet there, Maybe our TV screens would be a little bit, more thankful. So, again, now let's talk about the Chicago recently we had 5 black officers. I'm sorry, this wasn't in Chicago. But anyway, you have 5 black officers killing this poor kid, and what I found really disturbing is that whenever it was white cops that killed a black kid, they immediately had defense attorneys. They immediately went on a defense and said, well, they were trying to do their job. That's always the first bullshit thing they say. But in this case, they just threw them away. They were instantly fired without representation. Now, again, this is not a black or white problem. This is a police problem. We have a problem with cops, period. And so we're always looking at the wrong end of the telescope here. So we're looking at this from a racial divide instead of a institutional divide, where this poor kid was only killed because they were too emotional. They were angry with him because he dodged them, and so to them, they're like, oh, you want to dodge us? We're going to make it even worse for you. And the fact that, the kid had to cry out for his mother, and his mother was only about 100 yards away, and, those were like his last words. And, they weren't, but, in essence, they were. And so it's just really, really sad to see this poor kid go through all this. And then to see that no policeman at any time tried to stifle this fight, try to break it up, try to ease them, knowing there's people with cameras everywhere. Even from a fucking horrible, evil sense of mind, you'd still at least think, hey, we can't do this right now. There's people with cameras. But in general, it's just disgusting. And this is a perfect example of how it's not a black and white problem. This was a black kid being killed by black cops. So, is it a black and white issue? There was no whites. So it's a fucking police issue like it's always been. And I'm sorry, I've watched enough shit and lived in this city for so long that you become a little bit bitter, you become a little bit more cynical, and it's because you're a realist. You focus on what you've dealt with. The wisdom comes, if wisdom comes from life's experiences, well, then my wisdom is very anti-police, because it's an institutional problem that has divided our very human beings, and it's not about politics and all that bullshit. It's just a certain way that you present yourself that's wrong, and you're killing us. And it's not white cops killing black kids, it's not black kids killing white cops, it's fucking humans killing humans. That's all it ever was. And to watch this happen again, and knowing that California has had 3 mass shootings in 3 days. When is enough to say, okay, there's not a problem with the politics, the Alex Jones, the video games? It's none of that shit. It's a personal issue that we need to deal with. It's our institutions. We need to reassess them, because we're losing what was important. And I'm getting to the point where I'm so cynical, I don't even know if it was ever important to anyone else. Was a human life ever really worth anything? Or was it only worth something to me? You know, you shouldn't have to think that way. And it breaks my heart, and it's another reason why I wear sunglasses, is so you can't see the clown cry. And you know, it used to be the Napoleon way of saying it was, history is written by the winners. That's not the truth. History is written now by everyone, from the lowest to the low to the highest of the high. Everything is being recorded, witnessed, watched, streamed. You know, it's all being documented. So history is now being written by those who live within it. And as we have gained that new power, we need to actually exercise it. And since we surround them with our cameras, we need to surround them with our voices, not just taking pictures and videos and streaming them to your shows and to your podcasts and to your YouTubes. That's a great help. It's a great help. But without the message behind it, it comes off as subjective or object. You can make whatever you want of it. And that's not the case. And we need to be a lot more clear with our messages. We need to be more focused and concise with our messages. Emotion has no place within a debate. Now, that's something I learned a long time ago. So, if emotion has nothing to do with debate, and all debate relies on is facts, then we need to exercise our facts and show that we have them. That's the only way we ever win, is not by getting overly emotional and stepping over ourselves because we forget what we wanted to say because we get too emotional. So, when two people confront each other, even if you have all of the facts on your side, the emotions can overwhelm you and you'll forget your initial point. You'll forget your PowerPoints. And that's something we need to keep. Now, I can go into plenty of different examples like 9/11 or JFK, but that's not important. What's important is now and forward. And the whole purpose of us is to worry about them being us in the future. And so without realizing and actually accepting that it's us in the future, we're not going to get anywhere. Okay? So please remember to love one another. That's my time. Thank you for spending it with me. We do the show every day around 9:30 or 10 o'clock a.m. So check it out on Facebook or YouTube, or we're always on Twitch and Facebook in the morning. So, love you guys. Thank you so much, and I will see you on the other side. My time is out.
Say, baby, do you wanna lay down by my side? Baby, do you wanna lay down with me? Say, baby, say, baby. Say, baby, do you wanna lay down with me? Say, baby, do you wanna lay down by my side? Baby, do you wanna lay down with me? Say, say, baby, do you wanna lay down with me? Say, baby, do you wanna lay down by my side? Baby, do you wanna lay down with me? Say, baby, say, baby.